How is everyone?
I'm good, thanks.
Fabulous.
Fantastic, Dylan. All good, buddy. How's your day been?
Extremely busy, as you can imagine. Definitely the last 2 weeks have been probably the busiest weeks I've definitely had. Getting a lot of things sorted, but you've got to keep busy, I guess, and doing the 7-day trading week at the moment. But I wouldn't say taking its toll, but it obviously is. It's an extra amount of tiring work on top of what we've already got to do. And yeah, I've been trying to get to some personal requests and sort of curb a few personal commitments at the same time as well. But apart from that, everything else is pretty good at the moment.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, at least just pace yourself, Dylan. You know, don't kill yourself.
Yeah, I'm just literally waiting. We're waiting for our next move at the moment. We closed out of our trade last night, just before we started going back up again, and there's not really much trading action at the moment. As the trade we closed out at about 9 o'clock this morning, I believe. We closed that one out. But yeah, just still constantly looking for setups. Been looking at a lot of altcoins recently in the sort of more spare time on the market. We've been taking a look at some more altcoins. Ross has recommended me a couple to take a look at, and we've been looking at them. We've been trying to analyze them as well. So it's good to get a feel of some different charts rather than looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum all the time. But at the same time, that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the breakout. We're waiting for that pushback above the $50,000 level, and then we'll seeing where we can take us from beyond there as well. So.
Well, that's fantastic, Dylan. I bet you can't wait for the new trader to sort of take the burden off you slightly.
100%. If I'm being honest, that's the one thing I need off my shoulders at the moment. But yeah, we'll get there. Hello.
Guys. Oh, I can't talk that. There's just no point. There are no words. It's just, yes, Bjorn, we work very, very hard behind the scenes.
That's better. That's better. Yeah. If everybody can mute themselves just for a couple of minutes.
I can keep a look at it myself as well. It should be all right.
Perfect, mate.
I managed to snipe anyone who tries to.
Perfect, buddy.
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's my blood. It's all.
Got it. There we go.
There you go. No, things are going. Do you know what, Dylan? I've got to say something here because I put a post out the other day, and do you know what? I mean, I've been around the block a few times, and I think a few of the people on this call have, including Peter, that's over in America with our teams. And Dylan, I can just say, I think. You know, I know we had a call the other day where obviously, you know, the personal circumstances, you know, you had to do what you needed to do. And I get that. And do you know what, for the fact of you coming on and apologizing to everybody and saying, you know, I'm really sorry, I couldn't do this. It just spoke volumes about you, Dylan. It really did.
I really appreciate that. And of course, it's kind of like, you know, even in that situation, I know there's a lot of people waiting and a lot of people sat there on that call as well. So it's, you know, I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been fair of me to show up. Of course, people would have still understood from that perspective. But I just felt like I needed to at least say something, at least get the fact that we will reschedule it out there, and then obviously get everyone together like we've got everyone together now. So yeah, I apologize to those people as well who haven't made it and can't make it because they made it the other day. But yeah, like I said, sometimes personal commitments have to come first. So yeah, as you can imagine, I've been too busy to even think about anything like that for a while. So yeah, it's just been nice to at least get everything sorted from that end, and then yeah, back to business now. So.
That's it. And do you know what? That was much appreciated. And I think everybody that was on that call appreciated you just coming out of the hospital, Dylan, and saying what you did. Everybody, you know, I think appreciated that. And that's just a testament to the way you are. You know what I mean? It's full hats off to for that. So I know Mr. Live, Peter, if you want to unmute yourself, because I know you've got a few questions. So Dylan, tonight was going to be mainly a few questions, you know, kind of directed to you as the trader and as the CEO. Everyone's happy with the way everything's set up at the moment. But I know a few of the people on the call were wanting to come into the bigger packages, but just wanted to speak to you and ask you a few questions first.
Okay, sure. If anyone's got any questions, they can. I think you can raise your hand, and then I can unmute. If that's probably the best way that we can do it.
Cool.
Take a look. All right, I've got someone there.
Yeah, so that's Peter.
Peter.
Hello.
Hello. You all right, Peter?
Yeah, I'll come on camera for 1 second. Hey, how's it going? I'm just just finishing up school over here. I'm a teacher. So any rate, you know, one of the things that obviously the two main things really that I would like to bring up to start off with. One would be, you know, in regards to the percentages that are paid off for each package, right? The 1%, the 2%, the 3%, and then the 200% over the 6-day period. Especially, you know, when you're instituting a larger package. I think one of the biggest things people have to understand is how are you able to actually pay out that amount of percentage over that short amount of period of time? What methodologies actually go into doing that for the trading? And, you know, if you could be really detailed with that answer, I think that would be helpful for people.
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you. No problem. I have actually answered it a couple of times already. And basically the reason that, you know, due to actual current performance in the market and currently where we stand in terms of profit-wise, capital-wise, I think I've already mentioned in the past that I wouldn't have been doing giveaways and things like that if we wasn't doing so well in the market, or we was doing just enough to pay, to get everyone's profits paid. And obviously the thing about lowering the percentage packages, if we was to ever enter a bear sentiment market, we've already touched upon that previously, but the reason that we cap things like this and the reason that we attempt to do things like this is it's sort of a higher risk, higher reward ratio. I mean, this might not mean nothing to you, but if you can see on the charts, I mean, just over the last, just over the last couple of days, we've actually taken 4 trades. We're actually taking a few more trades than we would normally be taking. And in fact, when we're now setting these take profit 1, 2, and 3 levels where we can actually take multiple trades on top of trades as well, if you get what I'm trying to say. So what we can essentially do is it's technically like compounding the trade, where you can compound profits, you can actually compound a physical trade itself. So just a small understanding about the actual market that we're trading here being that once we set them 3 take profit levels, or once we set extra take profit levels, we can then take smaller leverage trades higher up the profit that you go. And that actually allows you to bring back a higher return. But of course, it does carry an extra amount of risk in the fact that once you hit take profit 1, if you then don't proceed to your take profit 2, and you end up putting your stop loss at the break even point, well, then if that trade then goes back down and reverses and hits the break even point, then you're basically coming out with no profit, no loss from that trade. So it doesn't sound too bad. But when you need to be paying out profits and you're also trading regularly on top of that, just through Monday to Friday, like we have been doing, of course, you've got to keep an eye on everything like that and make sure that the market's in a good enough place to be able to do that. And at the levels that we're at right now, there's a lot of volatility because there's a high pressure of selling, and there's also a high pressure of buying as well. And it's sort of a big fight at the moment. And the best part about that is being an investor, like I've said, being a trader on these markets for 3 years. Me 3 years ago, reckless trader taking 5-6 trades in a single day. I would have been the worst person to be in that kind of market back then, just basically because how volatile it is right now, the fact that we're getting big lashes up and big lashes down in the market as opposed to a more natural movement. It's just because of the key levels where we're at right now in the market. So basically me 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to trade in this environment, but sort of being patient and waiting for the correct spot in a more volatile crypto market. Because as you'll come to see, and as you'll have seen previously, and as you'll have seen from our past trading reports, you'll see that some trades might only pull in, say, $8,000, but then some might pull in $55,000 and so forth and so forth. And that's just basically because when the market's moving more naturally, you can sort of not predict, but like I said, follow a longer move in the market. Like I said, I don't like using the word predict where the market goes because nobody can predict. No expert, no guru, as they call themselves, can predict where the market is going to go. You have to find your right levels, have your confirmations in place, and then follow the market on where it goes. So obviously doing that can bring in a higher return trade, but to get higher return trades from, higher volatility in the market, you have to set these take profit levels and you have to take extra trades on top of your already in profit trades. So if I took a trade and it went down, you wouldn't be taking another trade on top of that. And if it hit the stop loss, then you just take the loss. And that's only a single trade that you've lost, really. So what I'm saying is, with those 3 take profit levels in place for a very small amount of investors, obviously, because if you have too many people in a higher risk, high reward package, then that, of course, it's more strain on myself. It takes more time to actually on the charts and more trades to be taken to generate that in the market. And of course, I've always said I don't like to over leverage and I don't like to over trade. So doing that whilst trading Monday to Sunday now before the new trader comes in actually allows me to be able to generate, as you can imagine, trading on a Saturday and Sunday, you can generate another 2 days worth of profits. And so that's why we're able to do this kind of package right now. But yeah, thank you for the question.
Right. Okay. So that sounds good. That's a very well detailed answer, which I appreciate. The other thing is that obviously, without going into names of previous companies or whatever the case may be, which I'm sure you touched on before.
I've heard many of them, many of them.
So on the surface, people see number of days, number of this, number of that, and then immediately they associate that with what they experienced in the past. You've pretty much gone over essentially how it's not really that. But I think the biggest thing really to do now is to discern the ability to actually get the payout now to the ability to the sustainability over let's say the number of years going forward. Does that make sense?
Sorry, what was that last bit cut off a little bit?
Oh, sorry. So the comparison to basically, let's say, for example, you got into the 3% package over 30 days, you're getting that 150% return.
Yeah.
Yep. So say you're getting that, but how is that package sustainable years later down the line? Like, what is being put into place in order to actually sustain the sustainability of the company?
Well, one of the things that we have been looking at and that we have spoke about with some big leaders is sort of eventually putting somewhat kind of soft limits on things and making it more of a sort of private investment club. Like we have already been reducing the number of sort of spam accounts and people trying to abuse the system, by taking off the public registration and things like that as well. Of course, as we grow and as we progress, and as I see with the numbers that are coming in, we're going to have to look at, obviously doing things like that, because of course that there has to be in this market, there has to always be limits on certain things that you can and can't do. As everyone should understand right now, it's a high volatile it's a high volatile market, and you have to be careful with what you do and don't do in this market. So bringing in extra traders is one thing that obviously helps, especially when getting things out. And then of course in the future, if we need things like limits and caps on accounts, or we have to end up lowering percentage packages or anything like that, that's of course all going to be announced or done over a live stream, or just something that people will be made aware of. Especially big leaders will be involved in private calls going over specific details. And we get feedback from everything as well, and I do take every bit of feedback down. We write everything down, make sure that I've got a good understanding of where everyone else stands on a certain topic. So of course, in the future, we will be looking at sort of that's just one of the potential resolutions in my eyes. Eventually, we get to a certain limit. And I'm sure a lot of people, well, we've already had it suggested by a lot of people. That's why I'm saying it, is because it just allows us not to sort of, overplay our chips in this market. You have to really be careful, and especially when you get onto winning strategies and things like that. That you have to be sort of careful in the market where you're moving and things like that. So yeah, we're always open to feedback on the way to change that. But as and when we reach certain numbers, as and when we reach certain capital and traders coming in and things like that, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do announcements and tackle them, whatever issues, or if there is no issues that they may bring. So yeah, thank you.
Right, got you. And then on the, my friend Camille was asking a question. He said that on the trading reports, the last trading report is 12/24. Is that updated weekly or is bi-weekly or monthly? How is that updated?
Basically, the trading report is constantly updated by myself. I just keep that, and then that's now been posting every month now. We used to do weekly from the very beginning, but of course, I mean, if anyone's ever seen any sort of main trading reports from ever, forex or stock market or anything like that, it's mainly done on a month-to-month basis. And of course, it's just one thing that I can do all at once, rather than, I've mentioned to people before, there might be some weeks where you don't take a trade. It depends where the market is. So of course, keeping it on a week-to-week basis, we could run into problems like one week there is no extra trade on the trading report, and I'm basically just having to sort of, go over what's happened, during that time. Or it would probably look less professional to come out and say every week, oh, sorry, there was no trades taken this week. I'm pretty sure that would raise a lot more questions, rather than just letting it go. Going to a month-on-month basis, which is what I technically do as a solo trader anyway. Is I like to look at my performance on a month-to-month basis, and that's just basically, or sometimes 2 months, or 3 months, 6 months, up to 12 months. I never really like to look at things on a week-to-week basis, because especially when you're performing in a market like this, sometimes the weeks don't add up to, you could have a really good week one week, and then that might look amazing to people, but then you could have a bad week the second week, and then people might start thinking, oh wait, how have they had such a bad week that week but such a good week that week? But if you're up if you're up overall at the end of the month, and I can't stress enough that I talk about percentages rather than the actual figure, it's better to look at it as a percentage, because it allows you to not get greedy as well. It allows you to understand exactly how much you need to make and how much drawdown that you're willing to take. So yeah, having it as a monthly report now going forward, and then obviously updating that on the actual website as the report goes live. Just because obviously when I do the actual video myself and I go over the trading report, if I'm already updating that report, I do update it with the trades every single day. But if I update that report on the actual site every single day, anyone could make a video with that trading report on there and put it out there before I've even done it myself, and I'm trying to avoid issues like that as well. So doing it on a month-to-month basis from now on, especially since the end of the November and December trading report, it's definitely the best way going forward with that one, and that'll be updated on the back office as well at the end of each month.
Right, got it. Okay, that sounds good. And I know, in the future, you're going to be releasing a DeFi token with the name to be named, and an academy coming in. Was it May, I believe?
That was meant to become in May. That's actually ready for launch right now, but the first 2 sections of it, there's still going to be 3 more sections to be added to that: the strategy section, the altcoin section, and then the 5th section, which is pretty much going to be revolving around NFTs. Obviously, I don't have any content for that yet. I've started working on content for section 3. Section 1s and section 2 are already up there right now, and just waiting for me to fully publish it, start adding people into that as well. But yeah, that's one thing that we did bring forward. So that's one thing I wanted people to be a bit patient with me on, and just understand that, yes, we're not technically pushing something back. We've actually brought something forward. So pushing it back, even a week or 2, just to make sure that we've got everything right, make sure we've got a good gauge of what numbers are going in there. It just allows a smoother transition from when the actual launch happens. And I don't want I don't really want to be facing more issues from something that when they can be avoided, if that makes sense. So if we can avoid those issues and play it out in the long term, yeah, that's pretty much ready now, those first 2 sections. And then leading into the future, like I said, section 3, 4, and 5. And then I can start adding extra bonus content and other things in there as well as I see fit. Yeah, I'll just see how we can grow that space as we go along as well.
All right, now out of curiosity, do we have any any estimated ranges of costs for what the academy will be?
The academy entry at the moment, I'm not sure if you're aware, is it's entry via packages only at the moment, because it's an early access of the actual academy product itself. Like I said, it's not a complete article yet. But we brought it forward just so we can actually start getting more content into and it allows me to get the most important part of it, which essentially is feedback and early feedback on that, things I can add to it, the actual overall design of it, whether people like the presentation of it, whether it's easy to follow for people. You know, I want to make sure that all that's in there as well. So yeah, and in future, I'm not sure. I'll have a look into it, but we may set a sort of fixed monthly price on getting into the academy, or just a one-time price to get into the academy at some point down the line. But you know, that's just that. Those are things to think about in the future right now. And after doing so much work on the academy recently, it's kind of not in the back of my mind, but it's something I've taken a bit of a back seat on whilst we've been trading a lot more as well. So.
Yeah, if you had a choice between doing a one-time offer and a monthly, as far as the administrative side of things, it's definitely easier to do a one-time.
Yeah, I understand that as well, because especially if people are paying monthly, they could just pay for 1 month and then they could, you know, blitz through all the content, or they could screen record it. You know, they don't have to upload it anywhere. Like I said, you know, we don't want any of that stuff plagiarized or copied and pasted onto open forums and things like that as well. That of course is obvious stuff from my side of things. But yeah, I understand. Being a single payment would probably be best if we go down that route. But we'll like I said, we'll get to it when we get to the next portion of doing the academy announcements and stuff. We've got a few things on the roadmap right now that I need to get to as well. Of course, a lot of work to be done. So yeah, like I said, a lot of work done on the academy right now. And we're going to be doing some more in the future.
One thing I think that's important to stress is really not availability in terms of being on Zoom calls, but in the future, let's say in late February or early March, whenever you actually do open up the office for the trading floor, how much will you make yourself giving people an ability to actually meet you, see the trading floor, see the trades, you know, personally?
That's another quite a big thing to figure out. But what I've basically said is there's going to be certain ways for academy members to sort of apply to come down for, you know, to come in for the day, because, you know, not everyone could just flock in at once. That, you know, would make absolutely no sense. But of course, depending on how I've got all the desks set up and everything in there, the way that I want to set things up in there, it'd be nice to get people in maybe for an open day presentation. And obviously I have to put a limit on it. The emails would probably be sent out to all Futures Trade members. You know, you'd get a link and it's sort of, I would have to put it on a first come first serve basis, at least for the time being. You know, and at the same time, I would want people to let me know, and I will get a system in place for it to, if people want to let me know if they need to drop out, so I can open up a space, because I would imagine somebody would jump on a space quite quickly if one became available. So yeah, the plans are already kind of in place for that, and I already have an idea what I'm going to be doing with that. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and Dylan, you know me, Jason, and my guys are going to be one of the first to come in to see you.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
I think the last thing that I'll say, and then I'll open up the floor for other people, but the last thing that I'll say is scalability. So what scalability do you have in place? Let's just say, you know, not let's just say, I mean, you know, I've come on board, other people have come on board who have obviously larger organizations. So people like, you know, us that are coming on that are builders, if you all of a sudden get a large amount of people that decide that they want to jump in, what scalability do you have in place to allow that to happen and not to have issues going forward?
Like I mentioned, the traders coming in is an integral part of it. It allows me to work closely with someone in not just taking the trades, but in dealing with a lot. Well, obviously, once the full trust is there, dealing with certain back office aspects, you know, without having too much control to start off with. But like I said, anything right now just to take any sort of not pressure, but any sort of workload off my back that isn't trading, that isn't dealing with the day-to-day stuff that I've got to be doing. And just moving forward, we've got an ever expanding support team. Things are improving there day by day. And yeah, like I said, I've just got to keep my eyes open and keep my options open for bringing in, you know, bringing in positions as and when they're going to be needed. Of course, that's definitely something I'm going to have to think about by the end of the month. I'm going to have a couple of positions that in my mind that I'll need in place to sort of help me out with doing things while still being, you know, the sort of main driving force behind everything. So yeah, we're just going to just going to keep going the way that we have been going, and just continue to sort of improve and grow as things grow. And like I said, if there was ever any doubt in my mind that there was some sort of issue or something that I needed to address, like I said, I would just come out, I would address it, speak about it, whether it's on live or bring a video about it, and just let people know what was going on or what was about to go on or anything like that. So yeah, if there needed to be caps or anything like that introduced entirely, depending on what's going on, you guys would be the first to know.
Got it. One of my team members, Sohan, had a question. His question is, how is the company structured at this point in time?
I sort of get what you're on about, but if you want to just define on that a little bit more, as in sort of structure.
So, Sohan, you want to
I could take that. I could take that in a couple of ways and give a couple of different answers, but the teams we have in place, well, of course, we've got a support team right now. We've got admins who look after the WhatsApp support groups and things like that as well. Of course, you've got myself, the trader, and the main, I don't like to say CEO, but it's technically, the owner of the company. And obviously, we're going to get a new trader in, and that's going to be basically now a 2-man trading team that I'm hoping to grow to 3 very, very, very quickly. Hopefully by March or April, because it's definitely going to be needed by that point. And yeah, I'm looking to expand the support team a little bit more as well. And sort of there's already committees and things like that are in place, and we've already got marketing teams for the DeFi token. We've already got a developer. We've got a developer who works closely with me on the back office side of things, helps me add things like new features and that. And a lot of people say, oh, wait, so he's got access to the website. No, I've mentioned before, he has access to a testnet version, which basically he sends over to me, and then I publish everything live, basically at the end of the day. Quite recently, I know it's been a little sort of trope of mine, because I've got someone working on it right now. I've basically got someone helping me sort of proofread the rest of the stuff, because I've noticed there's been a couple of typos or some buttons have gone missing. But sometimes as well, and this is what I want people to understand, is I'll correct a mistake that's on there, but the testnet version that I've got saved, if I add a new feature or if I put something different on that, or do a server refresh, which is something that you have to do sometimes just to get the page to go back live, if there's been a small drop in network activity on the page, it can sometimes revert back to a previous version of the page, and sometimes I really don't spot that until someone else points it out. So yeah, apologies on that one, but understand I don't look at it as much as possible, that testnet version. But yeah, when I do, and then there's sort of upload problems and things like that, I end up noticing it, and then someone else has to notice it again for me. So it's a lot more work going on in the background. But yeah, thank you to those people who've been pointing it out and getting those small things sorted as well. And when do you plan to put a voice? Sorry, I'm just reading the last part of that question. And when do you plan to put a voice-based customer service team in place? That would be very tricky right now, just given the fact that the current support team, I don't want to say bombarded, but they have been asked a lot of questions by a lot of people who aren't giving who aren't giving much patience. If I'm genuinely being perfectly honest for a second, I've seen a lot of screenshots. Of course, I've seen, because they message me and they show me if certain people are saying negative things or complaining that something's taking an hour extra than it should do or anything like that. So opening up a voice-based customer service team right now, I really don't think could be a good idea, just for the time being. I just think you open yourself up to people then getting kicked from the system. People could just say the wrong thing. If that then gets reported to me, I'm put in a very tough spot then, what I do with that person. So keeping it the way that it is, and just letting people know that as we are growing it, just to be understanding and be patient. It's not like going on to, I mean, a lot of you would happily wait half an hour on a live chat, for like Virgin Media or another company, or even an hour on the phone with some people. So the live chat, I think for the team that we've got going right now, I think they're doing really well. The support team are doing really well answering questions. And one thing I do want to ask is, if they don't answer and get back to a question, which is 100% the support team's fault, please don't spam me or direct the question at me 5, 6, 7, or 8 times. I genuinely won't click on the message and I won't read it, and that's just not me being disrespectful. or anything like that. It's just because there are systems in place now, and those systems are meant to be. I'm meant to be getting feedback and meant to be improving, and I'm meant to be seeing where I can do better. So firing all the questions at me, it just clogs up my, clogs up the inbox, and yeah, I just don't want that happening. It's been happening a little bit less recently, but yeah, they are working really hard to get that stuff done. So yeah, thank you for that.
Just on that point, Dylan, as well. I know. I think Sam messaged you, but Sam's eternally grateful that you took her on as online support as well as part of the company.
Yeah. I'm just reading. Sorry, I'm just reading through the. It'd be great to jump on Facebook stories to keep sharing behind the scenes daily for transparency. Anyway, I mean, we have done several Facebook lives. We've done videos from meetups. We've done videos when we've been to Manchester, or we've done videos whenever we've done anything. So, yeah, as and when things like that pop up, I always jump at the chance to make some more content or get some more things out there and keep people updated. I mean, I think personally, for what I've been doing recently, I do think I've updated people a lot. I do think I've updated people really as much as I possibly can, without having to dive, even though I'm diving through a lot of personal requests and things like that at the same time. So yeah, I am trying my best to do that. So thank you for the question though. Do we have any more people raising the hand? I'm just going to check the give me a second, I'm checking the chat. Does anybody else have any questions? Anyone else want to raise the hand, or everyone? Bear with me. The more content from your team, the better. Over communication always wins the day. Yeah, like I said, especially with the academy as well, I want somebody else to present and narrate one of the sections of that. Whether that's Ross on the altcoin section, which is obviously the plan that I've got in place right now is to have Ross to do that. But yeah, it's gonna be good to get different people on content as well, and especially like I said, we've got some good marketing teams, and we've got some really good things in the works on that side of things, and especially with the DeFi token and the sort of site and the launch that we're setting up with that. Yeah, it's going to be good. So that launch week is going to start. Yes, I know Monday is the 24th, but the launch week is technically going to start on the 25th from Tuesday, finalizing with the whole, everything being fully launched and up and ready to rumble on the 1st of February. So yeah, I'm going to be bringing an announcement video out in a couple of days regarding that in the next 2 to 3 days. And yeah, that's another thing that that I can't wait to get involved on there. So.
Can you just mute that one out for a second, Dylan?
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, we've only been with you. I think I joined. I think it was on the 22nd.
Right. Okay.
With you, and I've seen how you've evolved, and me and the likes of Peter and probably a few others on this call have been around the block, and that was what my post was about the other day. We've been around the block. We thought we'd seen there, been it, done it all, got the t-shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I say, Dylan, that you what you are doing is like a breath of fresh air, that's 100% true. It really is. And, I think a lot of the people on this call would actually, give me the backup here and say, you're not afraid to put your face to this, to the name of your company. It's your baby. And I know, the trading that you're all about your trading. If anybody on here was to ask you about the trading that you do, you can come out with it,
The call would probably never end
Exactly.
at the end of the day as well. So.
But I think a lot of people have asked me, Dylan, he must use robots, he must use AIs. I said no, he doesn't. He's a manual trader. He doesn't do that. So I don't know whether you just want to touch on that as well, Dylan.
I will happily speak upon that. Well, the one major point I will say about that is, if you want to use a robot or AI algorithm-based system right now, the best market to do that on would be the Forex market. And that's just because that is where a lot of the winners are residing right now in that market. You're not going to make ridiculous gains. You might make 20 to 30% a month. Maybe you'll have some 45%, 50% months if you do really good. But in the cryptocurrency market, as things tend to, a lot of things come up and a lot of things then don't go back down to that price where they've gone, where they've come from. And especially if a robot or algorithm in that market decides to short a certain crypto in the market and that crypto never comes back down again, then you see where I'm going with that. You're going to lose a lot of capital there. So trading with algorithms and robots in the crypto market, there's a reason there's so few of them. The only ones you'll see really are scalpers, which is where this might mean absolutely nothing to anybody. But if you see these sort of like tight zones, if you see these tight zonal areas here, where you've got price sort of going, up, down, up, down, up, down over a very short period of time, those robots and algorithms can detect when then zones are formed, which are called ranging zones, and they then basically just buy at the bottom, sell at the top, buy at the bottom, sell at the top, and then if the price breaks the structure, whichever way it breaks it, then they close that final trade out, usually for a loss, but eventually they're up overall, by the end of however many trades they've taken during that range. But they, as you can imagine, they can cause their own risks, because if you buy at the bottom once, and then it breaks out there, you've lost the first trade. Then if it finds another range and the same happens again and the same happens again, as you can imagine with crypto, that can happen. Whereas in Forex, you don't tend to see that happening, because currency pairs to currency pairs tend to be a lot more stable than cryptocurrency. So the reason why we don't use robots or algorithms in these markets is because it's essentially market suicide at that point. You're almost going to be fighting a losing battle. But if you did want to use them and you was interested into any, diversifying into the Forex market, I would definitely suggest looking up and doing your own research on a really good robot or algorithm for that, because there are some good ones out there. I don't use any personally myself. I've stated my reasons to Nathan and a few others before. My reasons, and some of the reasons that I've just said then, is why I don't like robots and algorithms. You can't beat the human precision in these kind of markets. Sometimes I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's just the way that it goes. Whereas, yes, a robot can trade at 4 o'clock in the morning, but a robot also doesn't know when a news story's happened regarding a certain cryptocurrency. And sometimes if they do know that there's big news events surrounding cryptocurrency, what happens is the robot pauses itself and turns itself off. Whereas I'll trade volatility like that, the robot won't. If it's a good robot anyway, a good algorithm, smart robot will turn itself off when major events are going to happen in Bitcoin or Ethereum or just in the crypto space in general. But that's just because they can't trade the news, whereas we can trade cryptocurrency news. We can see the fundamental side of things. We can see the technical side of things. And we can read the historical data a lot easier than you can read any other market. And that's just due to the infancy of the cryptocurrency market. There's a lot less historical data to go through. So it just makes sense. It's much easier to read in that respect.
There's Peter just messaged me privately another question. Why is it that you only trade BTC pairs other than, like ETH or anything else?
At the moment, and I think I mentioned this on the live stream the other day, is I'm actually waiting with Ethereum right now for it to break above $4,000 again. And at the same time, at that point, Bitcoin will be trading above $50,000 at that point in time. Once Ethereum's $4,000, Bitcoin, I guarantee, will be at $50,000 at the very least at that time. And I genuinely, where my chart stands in Ethereum at the moment and how it's laid out, I genuinely only feel more comfortable trading that once we reach that. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. There we go. Sorry. I would only genuinely feel more comfortable trading Ethereum once we've reached those levels. And that's just because I'm waiting for that bullish impulsive breakout, in the market itself, because like I said, Bitcoin at that point will be at $50,000, and then we'll easily be able to trade across both currency pairs then. So at the moment, it's not that I can't, it's just that there is genuinely, from my eyes, I'm not set up to trade that until I want to see that $4,000 level broken. With Bitcoin at the moment, it's moving absolutely perfectly, because one of the big indicators that I look at this with Bitcoin is with Ethereum. There's not so much fear with Ethereum at the moment. A lot of people who are mining it, they're staying and holding onto their earnings. There's a lot of people staking into Ethereum 2.0. A lot of people won't sell their Ethereum right now because of the gas fee prices as well. So you've got to take that into consideration. So that actually provides, it sort of makes it a little bit more of a boring market at the moment to trading, whereas Bitcoin is coming under a lot of sort of stress at this level. This is at the perfect there's a fear and greed index, basically. Let me just mute someone else. There's basically the fear and greed index, not sure if you've heard of it, and it's essentially where you see the most sort of panic selling or where you see the most, sort of overbuying in the market. It's just one of many indicators and one of many confirmations that I used to trade in a market like this. So right now, where the price is, there's a lot of people who are scared, but there's also equally a lot of people who are excited, and that creates the sort of exciting volatility that we're seeing right now. But come February, come March, when we eventually break out from these ranges and Bitcoin starts shooting off again, Ethereum breaking $4,000 again, yeah, it's going to be nice to trade Ethereum again. Yeah, definitely. Who are your crypto trading mentors, Dylan? I don't really have a crypto trading mentor as such. I don't really, because I was self-taught and because I've already been through the stock market and because I've already been through the Forex market. I never really had a crypto mentor, because if you go into YouTube and you search, how to trade crypto, or you have a look for courses online, you're getting a lot of the same stuff, and you're getting a lot of people just promoting sort of like the same coins or the same sort of, analysis and things like that as well. And it just seems like it's, it wasn't learning that way. I didn't really think that I'd learned more than I'd learned, learning candlestick patterns and support and resistance and trends and invalidating trends, breakouts, fake outs, the 4 confirmation rule, which I learned in Forex, which I now apply in crypto, which works way better than it ever did in Forex, just due to the manipulation that you've got in that market. So, no, just being self-taught and just having a passion for it and finding things that work for yourself and trying to, over the last 3 years, all it has been about is simplifying my, sort of simplifying my, trading strategies, basically, and getting it down to a level in the crypto market where I can understand it really easily. Taking my own emotions and discipline out of things. I didn't learn that from any crypto mentor either. Basically, I learned that through, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but doing things like yoga, basically de-stressing trading in my life. There was months where I didn't trade, where I had to sort of think, why am I being so reckless? Why am I revenge trading? Why am I taking 5 or 6 trades in a day when I'm losing 3 and I'm winning 3, or I'm losing 4 and I'm winning 2? So no, I was kind of pretty much, my own my own self-taught trainer in that sort of respect. But if there was one mentor that I can say that I had, was when I was getting into Forex, and that's a guy called Anton Kriel. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. I read a book of his as well. He was he was a former Goldman Sachs trader as well, and he was a very successful Forex trader, and he's the most humbling sort of mentor out there. He basically, a lot of people pay to go to his webinars and things like that, and instead of people saying, oh, you can achieve this, you can achieve this, you can achieve this, he basically sits there and looks at them and goes, well, a good 80% of you aren't going to make it. I'm just telling you straight to your face. And he just keeps it real, because you have to be in this market. Of course, if he's got a class of 100 people in there, there is a huge chance that that 80% of people in there won't make it. Not because of his bad teachings. What he teaches and what he knows in the Forex market has worked for so many years, and he's right. But he knows that people, no matter how much they might say that they're on top of their emotions or the psychology side of things, he knows people just aren't made for this market and aren't fit to sort of fight in this market, because people will be affected by losses. They will be affected by drawdowns. They'll be affected by personal things in their life. And if they're using it as a full-time job and they start to mess up the strategies and things like that, well, you can imagine that just piles even more stress on. And I've been in a similar position myself. I did break up with quite a long-term relationship while I was trading Forex, and yeah, my results tanked, and there was a direct correlation between my psychology at that time and me following my own trading strategies. So getting away from the Forex markets, and especially Anton Kriel being the very knowledgeable, wise trader that he is, he cuts the crap essentially, and tells you it straight. You need to tell yourself that straight as well, and he's genuinely been one of probably the only mentor and driving figure in that respect, in any trading really. But there are a few others out there, but there's just a load of people who can talk nothing essentially at the end of the day. So you've got to be careful who you've got to be careful who you listen to. Oh, it's nice to see that you've heard of him as well. So yeah, that's good.
I think some of the people, I mean, obviously we've had a number of calls now, Dylan, but I think a number of people on this call probably won't know that you transitioned actually from the Forex and the stock market into cryptocurrency. And I know one question that have been answered is, you know, how do you know, what do you leverage? What's your risk to reward ratio on your trades, so to speak?
Essentially, the minimum that we look for in a trade on futures is 3-1. Anything less than that, I don't really deem it to be a profitable enough setup, because even if you set a 3-1 risk to reward ratio trade, what's to say that once you reach a 2-1 portion of that trade, what's to say that, you know, you spot a reversal in the market? If I've got my Hawkeye on the chart and I spot a reversal pattern, I spot something happening, then we can close the trade out in a profit, rather than if I have it at 2-1. If it's halfway up, I'm not really going to look at closing that out. You know what I mean? Because it's not worth the risk to reward, really. Because if the trade goes the other way, I'm going to lose double the amount than what I could have made, essentially. So 3-1s, 4-1s, 5, anything up to sort of in this market. The highest that we almost reached was a 12-1. And that's just because when you do get a sort of parabolic move upwards, or whether you get a really big, you know, whether you're on a sort of panic candle like we experienced on the what date was that now? Was that the 3rd of December?
I think
when
it
we got the
was.
first one.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was.
on the 3rd of December, when the market really shot down right to this 42,000 level. And a lot of people were messaging me saying, Dylan, what's happening? Have we lost a lot of money? Have the trades gone or anything like that? And basically, we just showed them the trade that we've been in from the night before. We was in a short position. Yeah, we didn't ride it all the way to the bottom. We could have done, but I did not personally expect it to keep going that far. And that's just, you know, it's better to get out. It's better to be safe than sorry in that position. There was a point in that trade actually where the price did spike back up another like 15 to sort of 20%. So at that point, you know, if it spikes up that high, I might have closed it for even less profit. So it's about having the right sort of risk to reward ratios and the right patience in the market as well. The trade that we did on the live stream the other day didn't quite hit our take profit 3, you know, and it happens, but we still came out upon like the second touch of that trend line on the way down there, and still managed to bank over 75% profit on that trade as well. The one that we've taken most recently was just a 4-1 risk to reward ratio trade that broke below our lines. That's it, the take profit as well. And then now it's a very patient waiting game. And I mean, if I take a look at the day now on Wednesday, I genuinely don't know if there's going to be a trade for the next couple of days, and that's just because of where we are in the market right now. And I think we're just building what they call it in the market is building pressure, where you'll notice these candlesticks will get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter till eventually they almost look flat. And then you'll see the price shoot out one way or shoot out the other way. And of course, then you have to be careful whether the price breaks out properly and breaks above your expected levels to go long, or if it fakes out and goes the other way. And that's just essentially that's where I'm saying you've got to be patient. In them moments, you can get the sniper entry, you can get the precision at zero drawdown entry that will never go into a drawdown, and the trade, can only win from that point. But it's very hard to get that. So if you can catch sort of the second or third movement of a trade like that, where, the price is continuing to go up really quickly, or the price is, starting to come down really quickly as well, then yeah, those are the most exciting trades to me as well. Those sort of like 8-1s, sort of 10-1 risk to reward ratio trades. But you're going to get that a lot with altcoins, but a lot less leverage. Whereas we use 40 and 50 times leverage now on Bitcoin and Ethereum pairs. Well, we're only going to be using sort of 10 to 20 times leverage on altcoins. And that's just essentially because you're going to get one or two things with certain altcoins. You're going to get a stagnated price, so you're going to have to close out at either break even or a loss, or you're going to get a huge ridiculous pump upwards, or you're going to get a massive sell-off in these altcoins where you can actually take things like 20-1 risk to reward ratio trades. You can take 10-1s, 50. Some coins of more than 1,000 times their price, and if they're listed and if they're listed on their net available to trade, of course, if there's ever a potential of them going even another 20 to sort of 50 times, being able to capitalize on a long-term trade like that in an altcoin scenario is also going to be really good as well.
Yeah, and I know the majority of your trades, Dylan, from the amount of time I've known you and we've been talking, the majority of your trades are swing trades, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. I know there's a few people on here that have been in trading programs and they're scalping, they're doing this, they're doing that, the other. So
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, so we're coming up to about 10 to 7 now. I
Yeah.
can just see one more question in the chat, and we'll have a look at that. Do you have a business mentor and advisory board in place? Sorry, I might have missed you mentioning it. So I kind of get what you're on about. I am talking with people at the moment. I have spoke to people from the very beginning. I've had a lot of people come forward and put them sort of essentially put their name in the hat for positions. Like I said, I might not have advertised sort of thing, but yeah, as I look to expand and sort of build on that team, we'll just keep growing it as and when it comes. But we've built a pretty decent team right now for what we've done so far, and we'll just keep continuing to improve on that in future as well.
But I think that's all the questions, Dylan. I know you're really, really busy, buddy. I know you're really busy.
Yeah, sure.
So unless anybody's got any other questions, can we let Dylan go for this evening? I think he's well under break, or from us at least anyway.
No, I appreciate everyone coming on as well. You have all taken time out of your days to come and speak to me. So yeah, it does work both ways as well.
I highly recommend you hire a business mentor coach from the onset. Okay.
Well, you know,
sorry,
sorry?
Dylan. Thank you very much, Dylan. I appreciate your time as well.
All right, thank you very much, Jason. Right, well, all you guys, thank you very much for coming on. You know, I've been Dylan Carnell. You guys have been great. Thank you all for all your questions, and yeah, I'll see you all very soon. Take care,
Perfect,
everyone.
Dylan. Can you send the
Oh.
recording over to me once it's finished?
Yeah,
buddy,
once
please?
it's finished processing, I'll get that sent over to you as well.
Perfect.
All right,
Perfect.
take care,
Thank you,
everyone.
mate. Take care.